All right, it's 5:30, I'm told by the timekeeper.
Yes, it is,
We'll now
5:31.
open our meeting. I'm going to make an announcement now that this is all being recorded except for the executive sessions by Area 58, in case I forget to do that later. And the first thing on our agenda is a motion to go into executive session pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 21, regarding MBTA zoning mandate, again pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body, and I say it does, and also to consider executive session minutes from February 25th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No. Tom?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So we'll come back in as close to 6 as we can. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, let's see. We can go right into the warrants, the vendor warrants, and
I move to affirm approval of the following warrant and commitments. Vendor warrant number 79 for $242,451.28. Ambulance commitments 22425 through 322025, $76,265.46.
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
I move to approve the following warrant and commitments. Payroll warrant number 81 for $453,406.33. Vendor warrant number 82 for $163,190.80. Vendor warrant number 82 for $583.33. Withholding warrant number 83 for $153,497.24. And mobile home park fee number 3 for $5,160.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Going into new business, we'll just go right down the top. Boy Scouts want to have a bottle drive on April 5th and July 19th. Everything's in order?
Yeah, just make a contingent upon insurance. They had submitted something, but they're working on updating a policy. Our insurance company's looking for a little bit more.
All right, so contingent on that, I'll make that motion to approve the use of the town green for April 5th and July 19th.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Reappoint Pamela McSherry to the Halifax Cultural Council. Pamela McSherry. Don't we usually have these people come in and stand in front of us and talk?
Can you go to the microphone, please?
We wouldn't do that to you, Pam, don't worry. All right, I'll make a motion to reappoint Pamela McSherry. When does the appointment end?
March 22nd, 2028.
Oh, yeah, no,
2028?
22nd, 2028.
March 22/28.
Okay, so ending March 22nd, 2028. Do I have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Ambulance abatements. So we have from the accountant and the treasurer, request for abatements of $127,412.92. I will make that motion. Do we have a
Second.
second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Mead, Taylorman, and Costa for Labor Council services.
Yep, so this is just the agreement. We're going to bring in Mead, Tom, and Costa to handle our Labor Council going forward. This is a standard agreement with them. It kind of lays everything out, but again, it's a standard agreement, sets the hourly rate, and just need the board to approve it.
Okay, and who's signing this? You?
I would sign it, so you'd vote for me to sign on your behalf
All
as well.
right. Any discussion about this? We've already talked about this.
I looked quickly. Is the one, her name, Fedorov, is she specific?
Yeah, so she's going to take the lead on it. Her colleague Jane is right up there with her and would help us out, but it would primarily be the two of them. But Kate Fedorov would be our lead. You guys have met. Kate was part of the team when they came in.
Yes.
So she would take lead, and then anytime she's unavailable, Jane, who's her colleague, would fill in.
Okay, any other discussion about this?
No.
Somebody want to make a motion to sign the agreement with Mead, Talaman, and Costa and authorize Cody to sign on our behalf?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, now, review zoning amendments. Do you want to go through them all?
Yeah, all 86 pages.
So just, I'll let Cody take over, but the zoning bylaw review committee has been meeting for 2 years, I suppose.
About a year and a half, yeah, close to 2 years.
And aside from the big project being the MBTA issue, also went through the entire zoning bylaw to update it and to clean it up a little bit. So there's some things in here that you'll see, some changes in definitions and so on. I think the biggest things we have in here are the ADU part. Also now incorporates the senior housing bylaw that we passed at town meeting. I'm trying to think of what else is being...
We made it consistent, the special permit granting authority, depending on what you were going for, some would go to the planning board, some things would go to the zoning board of appeals. So the group went through and recommended any special permit be granted by the zoning board of appeals. Have it be one entity that deals with these, not. And there was really no rhyme or reason of why certain things went to certain groups. So those go to the zoning board of appeals now. Like John said, the ADU bylaw, we're not doing anything significant other than complying with state law, right? So state law changed with the housing bond bill back in the fall, where ADUs are now allowed as of right, as long, meet dimensional requirements, so on and so forth. So updating our bylaw to include that language. A lot of the other things are definitions, making definitions clearer. The goal of the group really was not to make changes to zoning per se, but to make it easier and simpler, simplify things. So as a resident, you want to look at our zoning bylaw, you can actually look at it and understand it, make sure that it's consistent throughout the whole bylaw. We had spots that contradicted one another. We had references. We had one thing where it referenced a certain section, and then that section had to do with mobile homes, but that's had nothing to do with what we were talking about. So cleaning things up, make sure the references were accurate. We cleaned up the sign bylaw. Our sign bylaw was incredibly lengthy, again, contradictory in spots. There was one spot where it said it couldn't be over a certain size, but then another spot said it could be, if you, for every so many feet set off the road, it could be times this magnitude, but the other spot already said you're limited to this many square footage. So which one was it? So those are the types of things that the group cleaned up. This is the kind of the final culmination of that with town council and Ed Bailey, our building commissioner, who did an excellent job with this. Council is working to put together an executive summary. We had one before, but we're looking to put together an updated one. The goal here tonight would be to get your blessing so we can get it over to the planning board. They look to have their public hearing on this sometime in April. It needs to be at least 21 days prior to town meeting. So we're looking at mid-April, I think is the last time I spoke with them. And then bring it to town meeting and let the town meeting vote on it.
Okay. Just a quick question, Cody. Did we do anything with abandoned properties? I tried to look
There's a
through.
blighted property
Okay.
section in here now.
That's
Yeah,
That's the other new one, right?
Yeah, so there's a blighted property bylaw in here now. We used a lot of it from other communities and what Rich had helped us draft. So let me just pull it up here.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I know
Basically
it's.
sets up a registration procedure for blighted properties once they're declared that, and they have to register them. We have to know who's in charge of them and all those kind of things.
Okay. Do you remember, Cody, if it was residential and commercial, or was it just for?
It's all properties. Yep.
Okay.
So requiring all residential, commercial, and industrial property owners, including without limitation lenders, trustees, service companies, to properly maintain blighted and/or foreclosed properties.
Excellent.
So we currently have a foreclosed properties bylaw, which includes a lot of these provisions. but it only applies if it's a foreclosed
Foreclosure,
property,
right.
right? And a lot of the
Blighted.
blighted properties may not be foreclosed on, right? They're
Right.
still
A
paying.
couple in particular.
So this really broadens that to all properties.
Excellent.
The scope of it, again, is within state law. So a lot of what already exists, but it just codifies it as a town of Halifax bylaw.
Love it.
That's the other one I was quick to
Yes,
remember. And the
yeah.
reason I think is because that was like one of the first things we worked on
Yeah.
2 years
Good.
ago. It was really a significant issue. All right, any other questions about the bylaws? Yep.
Chris raising his hand. Try and make your way through the crowd here, Chris.
Chris, 129 Circuit Street. I was just, you said there'll be a public hearing. Would that be when a copy will be released?
We will post copies as soon as the board votes it, so later this week, we'll post it online. The planning board, and they'll be available in the town clerk's office, we'll have public hearing notifications, and then we'll look to do 1 or 2 public workshops in addition with the zoning bylaw review committee to dig into these and really explain. The goal is to go chapter by chapter.
Good.
And go through every single change.
I guess one other question did they do anything? I heard they were looking into it, like night lighting, like Dark Skies Act, commercial shielded lighting at night. Okay.
Don't think
There's
so.
nothing in
I
here
didn't
about
see
that.
anything.
We didn't really, I was on the committee, so I can speak to it as ex officio. We didn't add a lot of things to it or take out a lot of things. We added the blighted property, we added the ADU, but that changed just in the last couple of months. And we added the senior housing one because town meeting already voted that. We didn't take anything out, I don't believe.
We didn't fully remove anything, no. We made, like, the sign bylaw
Yeah,
was
we
cleaned up.
Changed it a little
Yeah.
bit, and then we changed, like you said, they changed the special permit thing, which was not just inconsistent, but just,
Arbitrary?
it seemed to be arbitrary.
Yeah.
Like whenever this bylaw passed, it went this way or that way, so we just moved it all into one place. And other than that, we're not really proposing any additional stuff.
Yeah, I was just, shielded lighting. I noticed that the town's been growing in commercial.
Yeah.
Overcast night, you see all, and I know a lot of other towns have added, to make sure the lighting is down and not upwards.
I mean, this is not a be-all and end-all, this is just the revision for now, and if town meeting, as time goes along, we want to change that and add more to it, that can certainly be done. This is just for, what we were trying to do at the bylaw committee was just to kind of, not revise it, but just to put it
Clean
on.
up.
And one of the things that talked about the most from some of the members was, we shouldn't have to skip around all over the place to figure out what's going on here. And there were we had at least one fellow that was on the zoning committee, besides the building commissioner. And they said, sometimes it's, people will come in, they'll say, okay, I want to do it this way, and then they'll look at the bylaw and say, oh, wait a minute, I can do it this way, right? So it's like inconsistent provisions and so on that needed to be just made universal.
Cody said, I remember like 2 years ago when they first did the first couple of meetings, we had a consultant. And when they first looked at it, they said it was like decades old stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff that was in there, but then it
Oh, yeah.
conflicted because later on someone
Yep.
put something else in, it was all.
As a kind of a silly example, I think we had 2 definitions for basement and cellar.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we had about a half-hour debate amongst us.
Which to call
What's the
it?
difference? We said, well, finally decided it was really no different, so we're just going to call it one thing or the other. So it was that kind of stuff.
Sounds bad when you say I live in my mom's basement.
As opposed to the cellar,
Yeah.
sounds a little dungeon-y to
Little
me.
dungeon-y,
Yeah. All right, so next step would be to vote to send this off to the planning committee, planning board, right?
Yep.
And to put it on the warrant, I suppose.
Yeah, so this will be on the warrant. It'll be printed in the warrant prior to the public hearing before the planning board, just because of the way timing, how this lines up. If the planning board were to have any recommended amendments, they could be made at the floor, on the floor of town meeting. And then the same with their recommendation will be provided on the floor of town meeting, if they have one.
I'll make that motion that we approve it and pass it on to the planning board and put it on the warrant.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. All right, old business. Our town administrator's update.
So you're just working on the budget. Last night's finance committee meeting, I presented 2 full budgets to the finance committee. One with level service requests, which would require about a $1.6 million override, I know since then, the school committee has met and potentially pared down their budget, so that'll obviously need to be updated. And then the other one takes the, is level, not level, but is balanced, which would require about $1.2 million in cuts from the elementary school, several general fund cuts, and then we would need to eliminate 4 additional full-time equivalents on the general government side. We haven't identified those yet, but we're working to identify those. On the 25th, it'll be a joint meeting with you and the Finance Committee where they will present the budgets to you and you can make your decisions on whether you want to move forward with the override and to what extent. We also have the state reps coming in on the 25th, so the timing actually works out well.
Good.
And then you'll also need to have a joint wage and personnel meeting on the 25th to review those amendments that had come before you previously to make recommendations there. Thank you to the district attorney's office. This morning, Tim Cruz's office puts on CPR first aid training, and as part of our department head meeting this month, we had the training for all of our department heads. So we had CPR, AED, Narcan, Stop the Bleed, EpiPen, you name it. So it was great, and everyone really enjoyed it. And then we're actually, next week, the district attorney's office is going to be gifting us an AED here for town hall.
Awesome.
So that's good, because we probably should have one here. So that's a positive. We are still working through the library director search. The applications closed yesterday. And the screening committee is meeting Thursday to review those applicants. We got a good amount of applicants actually, which is good. East Bridgewater was posting at the same time and didn't get a single one. So we're certainly they did not. No.
Really?
Yeah. So I was talking to Charlie over there, and he said they had not received any, and we received quite a few. So that was awesome.
They'll be looking for our crumbs.
Yeah.
How the tide has shifted.
And capital planning, we are meeting tomorrow night, likely to recommend a full capital plan. We're in pretty good shape with capital. Most of the items requested, the committee, I presume, will recommend as we have the funding and most are needed. But that'll be done as well. Today was the deadline for petition articles for town meeting. We did get 7 petition articles.
7.
We're still certifying 5 of them, but 2 of them have been certified.
Wow.
So we will have a number of petition articles on the warrant. You had previously requested that an anti-littering bylaw be brought before you as well, so I'll have a draft of that for your next meeting that Attorney Huxham and I have been working through. So yeah, just trying to get everything prepped for town meeting.
So the 25th should be a quick meeting.
Yeah. It'll be the opposite of this one, actually. Cancel your late evening plans.
Bring cookies.
Exactly.
One of us is going to volunteer to bring cookies.
Sure.
And then MBTA Communities update. John, I don't know, do you want to share anything on that?
Well, all I can say about this is that there has been, we have received information that the state auditor has made a decision that the MBTA zoning act is an unfunded mandate, which can trigger other legal processes. The board is in discussion right now with our council. We are likely to take some steps. I'm not really at liberty to say just yet. We'll have to wait for council to get back to us on the definite positions we're going to take, but we will be at least trying to hold back any detrimental effects of the MBTA law as long as we can. So I don't think I have to say much more than that. I don't think we can say much more than that.
That makes sense. On that note, we also were notified, Green Communities is a grant that we regularly seek funding from, at the tune of usually $200,000, sometimes a little bit more. This year we were planning a $225,000 grant. We are planning to still submit that, but some of the communities that were not in compliance were just notified last week that they were not going to get their Green Communities grant. So again, we will certainly still be submitting that, and we are going to be seeking support letters from Representative Lenatra and Representative Sweezy, which may help our applications. But that is something kind of developing because it's not one of those grants listed in the guidance, but it is a discretionary grant under the executive office. So that was an interesting development there.
This is the second one though, right? We already lost one We didn't lose it. We
Well, you
deferred.
shifted it over to
Gifted it over to Kingston so we wouldn't lose it. Yeah. Yeah. So they continue to kind of add up beyond that. And then there's the Community One Stop for Growth, which is a massive grant program. There's, probably 15 plus grants under that one application that we're not eligible for. That one is explicitly listed, but those are, we were planning to apply for a master plan renewal in that. We were planning to look at some intersections and redesigns, so certainly some impacts that we're looking at. And then one other thing I forgot to mention under staffing updates is Pam has been taking an HR course through the MMA, so kudos to her. It was a highly competitive program to get into, and Pam got into it, and she's been taking that on Fridays, and she's been excelling and clearly learning a lot in my conversations with her, so kudos for her taking that initiative. Congratulations.
Hey, all right.
Thank you.
I just had one question on the MBTA.
Sure. We have nothing but time, and we're at the end of the agenda, and nobody else here. I'm not in any hurry to
Right,
go home.
I have to cook supper if I get home soon. I don't know.
There's a lot of information out there. It's been going on a while in comments. I read through the auditor's whole determination. When they're talking unfunded, are they only looking at the mandate requires the town to enact zoning? So the funding to enact that zoning? Or are they looking at the bigger picture, the water system, the schools, and all the houses are getting, because it wasn't quite,
The unfunded mandate thing, and
because
maybe
they
I may be
kept
speaking out of
referring to,
turn,
like,
as I've seen it over the course of time, is a vague and undefined term. And so we've talked about it, for example, in the 40R thing, the 40B issues. We've talked about that going back to Halifax Trails, what's the name of the development?
Oh, we're Thorndike.
The Thorndike development, when they first proposed a 40B, which was, if everybody remembers, that was what they first proposed over there. And we wrote all of those type of issues down, which were, not insignificant considering the number of units and water and this and that and everything else. And none of that made any difference in the unfunded mandate thing. Now, will this now? We just don't know.
because when I was reading the determination, it looked like they were only talking about enacting it, and the mandate only requires just great zoning. It doesn't require building.
Correct.
But I think, like me and everyone else, we're concerned if it does build all the funding of schools and water, and so I hope they're considering all that too.
Yeah, we don't know, but we've asked.
We're waiting to find out.
We've asked the lawyer to look into it. We're likely to engage in some litigation on that. We haven't seen that through just yet, so that'll be coming up soon.
And you were talking about grants, the list of them. The other night I saw the fire chief was in front of the finance committee. He referenced a grant too, but he didn't specifically say, but it sounded like lost one. Was that because
We were able to save it this year with the help of Representative Sweezy, but we anticipate that likely not being available next year.
Because of the MBTA too? It's part of that? Okay.
Yeah, has an effect. All right, what else you got for us?
That's it, just a few correspondence from the conservation on some upcoming public hearings. And yeah, get ready, get prepared for that next meeting. The 25th is going to be a big one.
Yeah, because we also have that, the public hearing for the fire.
Those accepted
For
streets,
the
yeah.
accepted streets too.
Yeah.
Could I bring up some correspondence, Mr. Chair?
Please
Is that okay? So, as you know, we're facing a budget situation with the school, and I've been trying to dig in with that stuff. And in just talking with some of the players in the different communities in the Silver Lake area, I was able to talk a little bit with Jason Frazier, who's over in Plimpton, who's on both their regional, the Silver Lake Regional School Committee and the Plimpton School Committee. He's also the president of the Massachusetts Association of School Committees. If you guys are okay, I just want to read a statement real quick, so you guys to digest here. Federal funding is critical for daily educational opportunities for our children. Currently, 10% of Massachusetts public school funding comes from federal programs. Across the Commonwealth, school committees and school administrators are grappling with historic inflationary pressure and increased costs. That's according to Mr. Frazier. School districts are struggling just to maintain level service budgets, and any decrease in federal funding for public education would be devastating to public school students whose futures depend on it. The No Cuts to Public School Act was filed by Senator Markey and would require Congress to appropriate federal formula funding for education at fiscal year 2024 levels or higher through fiscal year 2027. And then in fiscal year 2024 in Mass, the Department of Education provided more than $720 million to support 1,800 K through 12 schools and nearly a million students. So I was just wondering if the board would feel comfortable writing a letter of support for that federal act, just to try and help with schools across the Commonwealth and mainly here in Halifax and Silver Lake. You're seeing schools across the state struggle to make ends meet, and I think it can't hurt for us to pen something. Obviously, I could work with Cody to put something together, give it to you guys for final approval to send out to try to help us out.
Send it to who?
We can send it to whoever we need to send it to.
I was thinking while you were reading that this is an issue that would be our United States representatives.
Okay.
So Senator Markey.
Markey, yeah.
Senator
Markey was the one that filed it.
Yeah, you got
So-
Warren on the other end, and then our state rep is, our local rep is Keating?
Bill Keating,
Yeah.
Bill Keating. So
Okay.
those are if I was to write that letter, that's where I would send it. Just
Okay.
because it's not going to make any difference if it goes to the Representative Sweezy. I mean, he doesn't.
Right. No, it's at the federal level.
We could write to the president, too.
Sure, we'll throw them on. We'll throw them all
Oh,
on.
and by the way, Elon Musk might want to hear.
Sure, we'll throw Elon, CC him.
It's a good point, too. I think, obviously, there's tons of speculation, but you hear of the dismantling of the Department of
DOE,
Education.
yeah.
Just to give you a little bit of insight, we get at Halifax Elementary School over $400,000 a year in federal funding from the Department of Education directly to our elementary school. You know, there's so much speculation whether that actually happens, or would those funds be rerouted to the state for disbursement? We don't know, but there are direct impacts if the Department of Education were to be dismantled at the Halifax level with over $400,000 a year this past year.
So I would like to put together a letter of support for Markey's act here. If you guys think that'd be all right, I would love to do it, and obviously have you guys take a look at it first.
Do you want to do that as a motion?
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Tom, you want to second it?
Second.
Yep, all right. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Do you know, is there a date on that, when that's due?
Oh, I can find.
Just if it's after the next meeting,
Yep.
you can draft it, bring it to the next meeting, have the board review,
Okay.
and then vote on
I'll
it.
get a hard date for you.
Just let me know. We
Sure.
can work on drafting.
Is there any reason why, if you have the time, I don't know if you have the time, but you couldn't just do it between now and then let everybody take a look at it? And if anybody has an issue, we'll just get back to you. If we all agree on it, then it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's fine.
You want to do it that way?
Yeah, probably easiest.
I mean, this kind of thing should go out faster rather than
Sure.
delaying, and we know what we want to say.
Sure.
So, okay, well, let's do it that way then. All right, anything else?
That's all.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. We'll be adjourned.
See you, Chris.